Good evening, everybody. This is Blight from theartofwarfare.net. And tonight I have a special guest with me. We have the one and only Mongoloid. How you doing, Mongo?
Mongoloid! What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining me tonight. So we've got you playing Terran and the infamous Flipluck playing the Protoss. So tell me a little bit about your initial thoughts and opinions about the match here in this particular map.
Okay, this is Terran vs. Protoss matchup. This is something that as a clan we've been looking at. We looked at in our last practice pretty closely, especially the Platinum and Diamond players doing a little coaching, match analysis, things like that, specifically on Terran and Protoss. So me and Flipluck got together and decided to do a couple of show matches on this.
Excellent.
This is one of the two maps that we looked at pretty closely the other day in practice, this and Lost Temple. So really the defining features of Xel'Naga Caverns is number one, the open expansion. So that makes your early opening play, it's pretty necessary to do some kind of power play, because if you try to get any kind of early expansion off or anything like that, you're going to be really vulnerable to attack. So I think you're going to see both players eking toward some kind of power play in the beginning, getting a lot of units out quick so that they can secure that expansion safely.
Yeah, I see you being a little sneaky up here with Flipluck and stealing some gas from him.
Yeah, that's something I've toyed around with a lot in Terran vs. Protoss. I feel like it's an effective move for the Terran player, number one, because you can cancel it and get most of that money back. Also because it kind of restricts their play. It limits the amount of gas that they can take, and Protoss players generally like to put up that second gas right after that second cybernetic score, especially on a map like this, because it gives them a lot of options. They can go into the Robo Bay, or they can go into a 4-gate. So taking that gas, I think you're going to see is going to limit his options a little bit.
I see. It's a good play. As some of the viewers may or may not know, you are the practices of Taz, basically your brainchild. I believe, from what I understand, one of your goals is to enhance the capabilities of not just the lower league players, but even the Diamond and the Platinum League players through practicing specialized training on certain topics and things of that nature. Why don't you go a little bit more into that real quick?
Yeah, really my philosophy about that isn't so much about, I mean, increasing your skill is important. And I think it makes the game more fun when you're winning more games, and that's really the focus behind it. Is I feel like if we can do some really effective practices and have people learning a lot of their practices, the clan members are going to have more fun. So everybody in TAW is going to enjoy coming. They're going to be more likely to show up. They're going to be more likely to talk to their friends about it, and through that we can make being part of this clan a more enjoyable experience.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. So what is your what's your initial thoughts as far as your, knowing that you stole that gas, and now you're thinking about what you want your initial build to be? What thoughts are going through your mind at this point of what kind of units you want to get out?
There's a couple pretty basic openings for Protoss. They can do a 4-gate, which you are all familiar with and you've seen a million times. I'm a fan of that when they do it against me, because all I got to do is kill their first 1 or 2 attacks, and I know that I'm in a pretty good position to win, because they're going to have trouble producing out of those gateways and still expanding. Or a 2-gate Robo, or you got this 3-gate Twilight Council. So the reason why it's a 3-gate Twilight Council is you still have enough money left over to get your blink or your charge, and you're going to be gateway heavy, so you got that 3rd gate rather than a Robo Bay or something like that. As Terran, I usually do something that's a little more ghost focused than when I did this game. I was kind of trying something out new. You see me throwing down that reactor on the starport. That's not for any dropship or anything like that. I just wanted to have that barracks the second barracks ready to pump out some Marines.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and basically what I'm trying to do here is get out that siege tank and the siege technology, and my hope is that I'll be able to take that expansion once I get some siege.
Now at this point, are you expecting what Flipluck has done, a 3-gate Twilight Council push, or do you think he's gonna, do you think he's gonna go more towards, taking up? I mean, what's your initial thoughts at this point?
Well, I did sacrifice a scan just now. I went ahead and scanned his base, and that told me everything that he's doing. I see the chrono boost going down on his Twilight Council, and I saw his 3 gateways. If you go to just my view, you can see that. And I wasn't sure if he was going charge or blink, but I felt like blink would probably be more effective. No, that's not true, actually. I thought he was doing charge. So I responded by getting some Hellions, and you see that Infernal Pre-Igniter upgrade going down, just because I thought that he'd be going pretty Zealot heavy if he was going to get charged, and looks like I was totally wrong.
Yeah, it looks like he's throwing out a few Zealots and quite a few Stalkers for the initial push here.
Yeah, I think that was a stronger decision by him. Really what his concern right now is economically containing this expansion, trying to contain it without losing too many units, delaying it for as long as he can and getting his zone down. He's not going to be able to push into my base. He knows that. So really what he's doing is just delaying it as long.
Like, so we had a first initial push there, and Flipluck saw what you had and decided it was time to run away very fast.
Yeah, so you know what? Our timing might be off a little bit, because I'm just getting to that point. Okay, yeah, he just blinked out of there. He killed the supply depot. Probably stuck around for a minute too long, but didn't really lose much for units.
Oh, you actually came up pretty well on that. Now, if you notice down here in the bottom area, he's got a pylon sitting out here for his warp gates, and a really very good hidden place, actually.
Yeah, that's one of the features of this map, is there is definitely a backdoor to natural expansion, and I'm going to try to utilize that later in the game, and he's doing a good job of using it as a proxy reinforcement area. He's continuing to warp in strictly Stalkers. Personally, I mean, because the tank is there, Guardian Shield isn't really going to do a lot of good, but I would like to see a sentry in the mix, just in case he needs it. He could catch my units at the ramp and throw up a force field and take out a lot of those Marines or something. So for those Protoss players, definitely throw at least one sentry in your mix to get some utility.
Now, do you think sentries are an integral part of the ground game for Protoss, or do you think it's something you can go without?
Well, take a look at his gas. If you pull up the resource tab, he's at 500 gas. So essentially, if he made 2 sentries right now, it may or may not become useful, but they're going to be almost free.
Yeah, very true. So we see the Flipluck already has his first expansion going down. So his actually his minerals are currently, if we go over to the income, you're still ahead as far as the mineral play goes. But once he gets that new one saturated, and we also see that you got a scan going down on that, so you're already aware that he's got that expansion going. Yeah,
he countered my build pretty effectively. I didn't really expect this because I'd never done this kind of build before. You see me throwing down the command center. I knew I had to get it down right away because he had his expansion. You see me putting a little pressure on, just trying to regain my advantage here. I knew he had the advantage because he got his expansion down.
As many probes as you can.
So I managed to kill
those quick Hellions. You actually you do pretty good damage. Yeah. It looks like.
And I think. Yeah, it looks like I got I got about 9, 10, 11 probes, 12, 13, 14. I think that brought me back into the game there. Probably evened out the advantage.
The income tab shows you at just below 800, and it's dropped Flipluck down to the mid 500s. And we see your command center lifting off and getting ready to move down into your natural expansion. So at this point,
yeah, so that's really important.
On this map, it looks like initially, it's kind of like a run for resources in the beginning to get your income up high enough to start actually mounting a pretty decent force.
Yeah, that's what we talked about in the beginning. It's so hard to secure that natural expansion. If your opening build is effective, which Flipluck's really was, you can get that advantage and come out ahead. So if they do get that advantage, it's up to you to really try to take that advantage back. So you got to do something sneaky. You got to do something unusual, like a Hellion drop, or you'll see me continue throughout the game. Well, maybe not throughout the game, but maybe I think I do one more drop here to try to continue to gain the advantage, and you'll see it pay off.
At this point, are you thinking still short term, or are you looking at what you're gonna do for end game?
I'm thinking about securing the 3rd expansion at this point. I'm going to continue to macro out of those 2, but I know that he's going to have Colossi and Templar before too long. So my number one concern is getting that third base so that I have enough macro to really counter that. Because Terran really needs a lot of units to counter those two.
Yeah, we already see he's got 4 Templars sitting out right now.
Those 2 tech trees. Yeah, I think that's a smart move by him. I probably would have got it faster because he could continue to pressure right now if he had some Storm and some Zealot Lay. Although my tank level is getting to the point where any attack's going to cost him heavily, so he's probably playing a smart move and sitting back. Although, and he's got those 2 towers controlled. That's solid play.
Yeah, we see that he's been controlling those 2 Xel'Naga towers for pretty much most of the game now, trying to give himself some kind of an early warning on whether or not you're going to be coming up on him. And we also see him pushing up into, looks like a total of 6 gates so far, and fully saturating his main. It looks like his expansion is close to being saturated with harvesters as well.
Yeah, what you're going to see here is Terran has the ability with 2 orbital commands to really get a lot more out of 2 bases than a Protoss can. The Protoss needs to take that 3rd base quicker. He's not doing a really good job of saturating. He's natural. He's got a lot more probes at his main. But if you look at the income tab, I'm consistently 100 minerals above just because of mules.
Right.
So it really behooves him to continue to push out. He's got Templar. He's got a lot of man control. He needs to make something happen.
And the more bases, more command centers you have, the more mules you have, and the faster your income goes up as well.
Yeah, I think he sensed that advantage, and he sent some zealots in there. That was a pretty silly attack. I don't understand what the thought process was there. You see my Marines running there just getting taken out real quick. Maybe got 2 or 3 probes. That wasn't a very effective harass. The one thing it did tell me is that he's sitting by his base. So I don't think that was really worth it. But so here you can see me going for my 3rd base at that 6 o'clock position.
Yep.
I'm really not, you can probably tell by the way I'm playing, I'm kind of turtling. I'm not used to going a tank heavy build. I prefer Ghosts just because they neutralize those Templar, and they neutralize the Sentry, and those are really the terrain controllers. The Sentry and the Templar really decide where it is that you can put your units and how you have to control them. And when you get some Ghost in that mix, you can take back that control.
You don't see too many Terran players that actually do Ghost play. Many of the games that I've been in against Terran, and a lot of the replays that I've seen where Terrans are going up against Protoss, you don't see very many in the way of the Ghost play, and that EMP can do amazing things offensively if you play it right.
Yeah, if you're looking at some well-developed Terran play, you're going to see Ghosts in the mix. It's really a fault here that I don't have any, although it's really not going to make a difference the way this game goes. My choice of units here was pretty poor given this map design. You can see I chose to push out and take 2 expansions. I felt like I had the advantage, and you look at the resource tab, my army size is actually a lot larger than this. I'm at 147 and 98 at this point. So I'm pretty confident with my macro and the way I'm playing. That I can move out and take 2 expansions.
And here we see a conflict going down on your natural expansion. And here come the High Templars. High Templars coming in, dropping that Psy Storm, completely obliterating those Marines. That is ugly. What was going through your mind when you when you saw that carnage?
I can't say it on this stream because we're trying to be clean here. I think really you gotta have confidence in your tanks to fight unsieged. So my mistake here is, as a Terran player, you gotta unsiege, get all your forces together, and run in, rather than sending in Marine Marauder and then bringing in these tanks. I'm kind of pussyfooting around here and letting too much damage take place.
Yeah, we see a very important thing to note, however, though, is even through this conflict, your barracks are not sitting idle. They are producing units. And that's very good macro play.
Yeah, it is. But the other piece is continuing to produce units